Hi everyone. Yesterday was Mickey Mouse's 96th birth anniversary. 96th birth anniversary. It is really hard to become relevant, stay relevant for at least 1 year or maybe even 1 month also in this particular generation. Staying relevant for 96 years, that is really hard. He has inspired entertained our forefathers, even entertained my generation. When I was talking to my nephew, and he also watches Mickey Mouse cartoon. So it is really something hard to create a vision, implement that, and staying relevant for this much years. So let's all have a vision. Let's implement. Sometimes we'll fail, sometimes we'll win, but still worth trying. So with that note, let's move on to today's daily news analysis with these four topics. So the first topic I've taken, it is Manipur issue. Manipur issue was in the news for many months. So this is regarding Manipur issue. It was in Hindu page number 6. Second one is regarding Delhi only. So it is said that living in Delhi is becoming really difficult. It is like breathing around 50 cigarettes for a common man. So now they have implemented the GRAP IV measures. So second article will be discussing regarding that. Third article, the international agencies, they are exploring the possibility of a fossil fuel proliferation treaty. So that also we will be discussing. After that, a very important news regarding the Falcon 9 rocket which has launched India's satellite. So we will be discussing that also. So these are the four articles which I have taken today for today's daily news analysis. Alright, we'll start with the first article. It is talking regarding the Manipur issue. So this advocate, in this article, he is saying that there is actually a cause for imposing Article 356 in Manipur. So this article is important from both prelims as well as mains point of view. So here we'll be discussing regarding Manipur crisis, and also we'll be discussing regarding what is Article 356, what is Article 355, how it is implemented, and all these things we'll be discussing in this particular article. Okay. Alright, so let's see a previous year question which was asked regarding in the same context only. How far do you think cooperation, competition and confrontation have shaped the nature of federation in India? Cite some recent example to validate your answer. So this kind of questions can be asked for your mains examination. So let's see what is actually the context of this particular issue. So context is from 2023 itself. 2023, actual history is starting long back itself, but still from 2023, May 2023 itself, there is actually violence in Manipur, and now it has reached to a level that it led to the complete collapse of the constitutional machinery. Okay, so that is an alarming issue. In this article, the advocate is saying that it is high time that we have to invoke Article 356, and it should be done by the President of India. So that is the current context of this particular topic. Alright, now let's see what is actually the background of this particular issue. To know the background of Manipur issue, we have to know how Manipur is where Manipur is located, and what is actually the geography of Manipur, what is actually the ethnicity of Manipur. Okay, so if you see this map of Manipur, it is usually said that Manipur is like a football ground. Okay, so how will a football ground be? Football ground, in the middle the players will be playing, right? So the ground, it will be like this only. It will be like this only. People will be sitting in this landed way. So like that way, here also if you see this place where Imphal, the capital of Manipur, is there. So this is actually in the valley, and the surrounding areas, these surrounding areas, they are actually the hilly terrains. Okay, so this is actually the valley, and here you can see that it is actually the hilly terrain. So here the football ground will be there, and here it will be there, the hilly areas will be there. So that will be like a stadium. Okay, and also another important thing which you can see from this map is like the major population in Manipur, that is a Meitei tribe. The Meitei tribe, they constitute around 53.3% of Manipur's ethnicity. And this yellow you can see here, the major population is staying in this small area. So that is actually the core root of the Manipur's issue. Okay, so these are the important ethnic tribes in Manipur. One is Meiteis, who stays in the Imphal valley. This is a Imphal valley, and also in the hill districts. That is this, the place where in the stadium, the place where people sit. Okay, so there we have the Kukis as well as the Nagas. So this was actually the ethnicity of Manipur, the major ethnicity of Manipur. So what the Britishers, when Britishers came to this particular area, what they did is like they bought the Kuki-Zomi people. They bought the Kuki-Zomi people to this valley area. Okay. So now we have Kukis, Nagas, Meiteis at this Kuki-Zomi area fighting for this particular this smaller area. Okay. So this is actually the core issue of Manipur. Right. So after this, what happened was like India got independence. India got independence. The Kukis became Kukis also. The population of Kukis also increased, and ethnic clashes happened. Ethnic clashes happened between Kukis, between Meiteis, and even Nagas were also involved. So Kukis, once Kuki population increased, so they demanded something known as the Kuki land. They demanded something known as the Kuki land. Okay, so it is involving many places. You can see that not just Manipur, even place of Mizoram, place of Nagaland. So like that way, wherever the Kukis were there, so they demanded something known as the Kuki land. Okay, so again this also led to conflict between Kukis, Meiteis as well as Nagas. So since Kukis demanded this Kuki land, Nagas also didn't stop. So Nagas also demanded something known as the Nagalim. They also demanded something known as the Nagalim. Okay. So Nagas demanded Nagalim, Kukis demanded Kuki land. So Meiteis were in confrontation with both this Nagas as well as Kukis. Okay. So after that, after many for many years this clashes continued. In 2023, what happened was like 2023, the Meitei demanded ST status. Meitei demanded ST status. Okay. So against this demand, many people, especially from the especially from the hilly areas, they carried out solidarity marches, tribal solidarity marches, saying that the Meiteis cannot demand this ST status. Why? Because even they were in majority. Earlier they were in majority. So that is also one issue. So they cannot claim for the ST status. What happened after that was, especially after this particular tribal solidarity batch, what happened was like violent clashes erupted. Violent clashes erupted, and it became so violent that police had to even use many brutal forces regarding this. And 2024 again fresh violence brought, and even it led to implementation of ASPA and all. Okay, so this is actually the background of this Manipur issue. Usually, what the government will be doing if this kind of situation happens, what usually government will be doing is like, this is actually law and order issue. This is actually law and order issue, and also sometimes it can even lead to breakdown of constitutional machinery. So if that is happening, the government can do, what the government can do is they can invoke Article 356. Article 356 means president's rule. The state government will be powerless, and the president will be, or maybe the union government will be directly ruling over that area. So we will see what are the provisions of Article 356, how Article 356 is invoked, what is the issue with Manipur, whether we will be able to invoke Article 356 in Manipur. Okay. Alright, so this is regarding Article 356. So Article 356 means, directly means president's rule. President's rule. So we have different types of emergencies. One is a national emergency which is under Article 352. One is a national emergency which is under Article 352. So this is often said as a state emergency, even though nowhere this term is used, it is often treated as a state emergency. Okay, state emergency. So in the state emergency, the union government will be having all the powers. The union, whatever the state government was doing, it will be directly handed over to the union government, and they will be ruling in the name of president. So this is basically the core of president's rule. Okay. So which all situations these are invoked? In which all situations these are invoked? One is during the breakdown of constitutional machinery, which is mentioned under Article 352. Breakdown of constitutional machinery. Breakdown of constitutional machinery means what? It says that the state cannot function according to the provisions of the constitution. In constitution, there are some duties which have been assigned to the state. So according to that, the state cannot function. So that is the breakdown of constitutional machinery. So that is one point at which it is used. Another one is loss of majority for the ruling party. loss of majority for the ruling party, or directly after election, no party is getting, if no party is getting a majority, so at that time also this can be invoked. So these are based on the provisions of Article 164(2) and Article 356. So these are two areas. Now let's see how this is actually invoked. So when there is a breakdown of constitutional machinery, the governor will be submitting a report. The governor will be submitting a report to whom? It will be given to the president. It will be given to the president. So the president will be determining whether there are situations, are there any situations which are existing, so that I can invoke Article 350 there. Okay. So if the president will be assessing the situation, if the president finds that okay, this is actually happening, what he will be declaring? He will be declaring the state emergency, or we can call it as the president's rule. So after that, it need parliament approval. It need parliament approval, and within 2 months the approval has to be granted. So within 2 months the approval has to be granted, and after that, if the approval is granted, it will be continuing, and if it is not, the approval is denied, means the president's rule will be revoked. So this is actually the process in which how the president's rule is invoked. Okay. All right. Another important article which is coming under the state emergency is Article 355. Article 355. So what is the difference between Article 356 and Article 355 is Article 356 means the central government in the name of president will be having direct control over the state government. So that is Article 356. That is whatever the state government was doing, it will be transferred to the central government, whether it be lawmaking, whether it be administrative duties, everything will be done by the central government. So Article 355 mandates that the union has to protect the state from external aggression as well as internal disturbance. So what is the difference here is, here in Article 355, the state government will still be having the power, but the central government will be assisting, whether it be administration, whether it be finances, or whatever it be, the central government will be administering, and central government will be assisting them. Okay. So that is Article 355. Okay. So another important thing is, when the government, the union government will be giving some directives to the state government, and if the state government is not obeying that, and they are using their own discretion, means at that time also the president's rule can be imposed president's rule can be imposed in that particular state. So now let's understand why these are the reasons, means Manipur should already be having president's rule, right? So what is actually differing the central government for invoking the Article 356 in Manipur? Okay, so we'll see what are the reasons. First one, as of now, they are trying this Article 355 only. So Article 356 means what? Article 356 means they will be directly controlling. They will be directly controlling. Now they are using Article 355. Why? Because there is a very popular case known as SR Bommai vs. Union of India, where the government was dismissed in 1993. So at that time, the court said in this judgment that you have to explore whether there is a scope of invoking Article 355, that is assisting the government instead of just dismissing the government. So as of now, the government is doing that only. So that is one argument. Another one is discretion without the governor's report. So that was also said in Rameshwar Prasad vs. Union of India. So here they advise that the caution to avoid misuse and protect federal principles, the governor's report is needed. Okay. So that is also one reason in which Article 356 is not imposed in the state. And also there are concerns that federalism, it will actually become a threat to federalism. For example, it can be considered as a central overreach, especially in a state like Manipur, where there are many ethnic tribes are there. So obviously ethnic clashes will be there, and also even it can even lead to communal violence also. So that is also one concern why this Article 356 is not invoked in this Manipur. Okay. Now let's see what are the arguments in favor of uh, imposing Article 356. People are saying that already the Manipur law and order is under damage. So, the state government is in a position in which they are not able to do anything regarding the breaking of this law and order. So, now the central government has to intervene as soon as possible. For that, the only way is to invoke Article 356 and impose president's ruling Manipur. And also, this should be used as a temporary criteria. It should not be like, it should be Manipur should be under presidential for long period, but still as soon as the government or the president feels like okay Manipur will be fine, at that time they can revoke this. So these are the arguments in favor of invoking president's ruling Manipur. Now let's see what are the impact of Manipur crisis on Article 356. What I've already mentioned, it will be a federal strain. So now the central government has to be more cautious, and uh, they should not affect the federal fabric of the country. And also, Supreme Court has also intervened. Supreme Court has also intervened many times earlier also through many laws like Rameshwar Prasad case as well as SR Bomekos. So they don't want to lift it to the Supreme Court level. So that is also there. And also there is actually a question between whether it is autonomy or stability. So Manipur is actually highlighting the need for a balanced emergency power, and they want the center to respect their autonomy. Instead of completely dismissing it, they want the center to assist them in curbing these violence. So this is actually the impact. So now what can we do? What is actually the way forward? There should be a criteria. There should be a criteria for invoking Article 356. So we had two important administrative commissions. So they have uh, set some suggestions. One is Sarkaria Commission and another one is Punji Commission. So both of them have set to define some criteria. What should be the criteria? The central government along with the state government, they should decide. They should decide, and based on that only it should be implemented. Okay, and also there is actually a uh, demand to strengthen Article 350. That is what is being happening as of now. Before directly invoking the Article 356 by dismissing the state government, we have to see whether there is any scope for Article 355, and also more provision has to be added so that we can strengthen Article 355. Okay. Also, we can establish a crisis response committee. Crisis response committee in the sense for real-time monitoring. For real-time monitoring, the members of the state government as well as the members of the central government should be part of this, and the crisis response committee has to be invoked. Okay, and also localized judicial oversight should also be there. Localized judicial oversight, so that we can create local mechanisms to ensure that it is not getting escalated to the higher levels. Also, we have data regarding when to intervene, what is actually the administrative error, all these things we have data. Okay, so based on that only a data driven approach need to be followed. Okay, so these are some of the things which we can do. And also humanitarian collaboration. Humanitarian collaboration means there are agencies which are working, humanitarian agencies which are working in these type of situations. So we have to seek the help of them. And also there should be a transparent relief distribution should also be there, so that whatever we are doing, it should be accountable, whether it be the state government or whether it be the central government, they should be accountable for these things. And also reconciliation programs should be there, so that can promote the union state collaboration, like we say cooperative federalism should be there. Okay, all right, so these are the way forward. Now let's see a mains practice question. Explain the significance of maintaining a federal balance while implementing Article 356 in sensitive states like Manipur. What are the potential impacts on autonomy and stability? Okay. So, what is asked here? Explain the significance. Explain the significance of maintaining a federal balance. Okay. So, we should focus on the central state relations. Okay. In implementing Article 356 in sensitive areas, whether it be Manipur or whatever it be. Here, the question is regarding Manipur. What are the potential impacts on autonomy and stability? Okay. So, the approach will be, you can briefly explain what is Article 356, and also the federal balance is also asked. So in the introduction itself, we can include that also. And in the body, we can talk regarding the importance of federal balance in this sensitive context. You can define federalism. You can explain regarding the ethnicity of Manipur, or like that way you can include more points in that. And also after that, what is asked here, implications of article 356 in Manipur. Okay, so there also you can take what is regarding the prolonged violence, why these things are being delayed, all these things you can mention. And also in the way forward, we can mention it like we have to balance stability as well as risk. And also regarding the committee recommendations, Punji committee recommendations, Sarkaria committee recommendation, and also the judicial interventions, the case Rameshwar Prasad case, Bombay case, all these things you can mention in this body. And finally, you can conclude, you can give a positive conclusion like there should be a balanced approach. So like that way you can conclude. Okay. All right, moving on to next topic. So again, this is a very important news. SpaceX Falcon 9 deploys Indian satellite in orbit. So this will be coming under the science and technology part. Coming under the science and technology part. So here we will be discussing regarding ISRO's satellite GSAT 20, and also we will be discussing regarding what is this SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. So why we have used the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket also. Okay, so this is important from both prelims as well as mains point of view in science and technology part. So we will see a previous year question with reference to IRNSS. IRNSS consider the following statement. Okay, so here you need to understand regarding the types of orbit, what is IRNS, what is actually the range of IRNS, all the things you need to know in this topic. Okay. All right. So the context is India's most advanced communication satellite named GSAT N2, or it is popularly known as GSAT 20, that was successfully lifted off into space by Falcon 9 rocket. So Falcon 9, you might be knowing that this is actually a private rocket. So who is actually the author of this? Elon Musk. You might be knowing Elon Musk. Elon Musk is having SpaceX. So SpaceX only launched this Falcon 9 rocket, and in that we had this GSAT 20, and it was launched from Florida, USA. Okay, so this is actually the context. Now let's see what is important things regarding the news from exam point of view. So this deal is actually brokered by New Space India Limited. New Space India Limited is a government-owned commercial arm of ISRO. Government-owned commercial arm of ISRO, which was created in 2019. So 2019, ISRO decided, or maybe even before that itself, ISRO decided that the commercial activities will be handled by a separate department. ISRO will be mostly focusing on the research activities only. So to handle this commercial activities, they have created something known as a New Space India Limited, or NSIL. So 2020, there were many space sector reforms were there. Okay, so in that, one of the important things were we will be going for privatization. More private players will be incorporated, and also we will be seeking international cooperation also. Even from private firms also we will be seeking international cooperation. Earlier what we were doing is like, earlier we will be making some satellites, we will be making some satellites, and also we will be collecting satellites from even some universities will also be making the satellites and all, right. So we will be collecting all the satellites and we will be combining all together, and we will be scheduling the date for the launch. So on that day, we will be in that particular satellite, everything will be carried together. Okay, so now we have moved to on service demand. For example, if we are creating one satellite now, we are manufacturing one satellite now, right after that itself, if we want to launch, so we should not wait for that much time. So that is known as on service demand. So we are focusing more on this on service demand. Okay, all right. So now let's see why ISRO has not launched this satellite. Why ISRO has not launched the satellites with its rocket. Okay, one major reason is like we don't have that kind of a rocket. We don't have a rocket with that much capacity. So that is the main reason why we have not opted for that. Okay, so you can see from this chart, ISRO, we have our powerful rocket is a LVM-3. LVM-3 is our powerful rocket. So mostly we will be using rockets to launch satellites to two different orbits. One is the low Earth orbit. One is a low Earth orbit. So here only we will be mostly deploying the remote sensing satellites and all. Remote sensing satellites will be deployed in this area only. So in this geostationary transfer orbit, we will be deploying the communication satellite. We will be deploying the communication satellite. Okay. Also, you can see the payload capacity. Payload capacity means that when we are sending something in the rocket, it should be having some capacity, right? So if you are sending in this low Earth orbit, in this, for example, remote sensing satellites and all, it can be up to 8 ton. So 8-ton rocket. For example, this is Earth. This is Earth, and here we have the low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit, and here we have the geostationary or geosynchronous orbit. Okay. So from here to send it to here, from here to send it to here, we can send up to 8 ton. In our LVM-3, we can send up to 8 ton. Okay. But if you want to send the same, if you want to send something to the geostationary transfer orbit, we can send up to 4 ton only. Okay. So if you want to send more than 4 ton to just GTO, we don't have the capacity. That is the simplest explanation of why ISRO was not able to launch this. Okay. So LVM-3 is the best rocket we are having as of now. Earlier, what we used to do is, earlier also we used to seek other cooperation of other agencies. For example, ESA and European Space Agency. There was one rocket known as Ariane 5. Ariane 5, it was part of Ariane Space, which was a ESA's company. Okay. So in that we were able to send rockets of we were able to send at around to 20 kg also 20 tons. Okay, till 20 tons we are able to carry it to lower orbit, and also if you are sending it to GTO, we can carry up to 10 tons. Okay. But what happened was, like, recently this Ariane 5 retired. Recently Ariane 5 retired, and Ariane 6, they are starting to develop Ariane 6 only. So as of now we don't have any option. We don't have any official option. We are already relied on Ariane 5 and it was successful. We have we have completed around 23 satellites earlier also, and Ariane 6 was not developed. So now we are in a situation like the new satellite, which is weighing around 4.7 ton. Okay, so this is 4 ton, and we have to send it to GTO. We have to send it to GTO, and we don't have the capacity for that also. Okay, so we have to rely on someone else, and who is there at that time only? We have SpaceX. SpaceX is a private firm owned by Elon Musk. So SpaceX is having a rocket known as Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy rocket. See this one. India's LVM-3 was able to carry only 8 tons till LTU. This Falcon Heavy is able to carry 64 tons, okay, into 8. 64 tons to low Earth orbit, and also 27 tons. Here it is 4 tons only, okay, almost again into 8. So 27 tons to geostationary transfer orbit. See, LVM-3, we usually call it as the Bahubali rocket, but still compared to the Falcon Heavy rocket, it is nothing. It is nothing. Even though this is Bahubali, but still LVM-3 is the capacity of LVM-3 is very low compared to the Falcon 3. So that is why we have opted for Falcon 3 and Falcon 9, and also Falcon 9 is one of the most successful rockets. So that is also another reason we have opted for SpaceX program. Okay. So that is the reason why ISRO opted for this Falcon Heavy. Now let's understand what is the other specialty of this Falcon 9. So one is reusability. How can a rocket be reusable? Usually you might have seen this launches and all. The rocket will be going like this. After some stage, it will be one stage will be gone. After that, another stage will be gone. Finally, the satellite will be deployed. Advantage of Falcon 9 is the Falcon 9 can be reusable. That is, the rocket can be brought back to Earth. So brought back to Earth, which will make it reusable. So when something is reusable, the price will be reduced. So that is the advantage of Falcon 9, so that even if you are opting for Falcon 9 also, it will be affordable for ISRO. So that is one reason. Another thing is it is versatile. It is versatile in the sense it can perform a variety of mission. What do you mean by variety of mission? One is launching the satellite, obviously like how we have actually done, launching the rocket. Another one is supply missions. What do you mean by supply missions? One is launching the satellites. Another one is supply missions. Supply mission in the sense we have something known as International Space Station. So there astronauts will be there. So for them, there are astronauts who has been there for many months and all. For example, can take the case of Sunda Williams and all. So they have been trapped there. Okay. So for them also uh, we need to ensure that supplies like food and all has to be provided. So this is known as supply mission, and also crewed missions also. Crewed mission in the sense, for example, will be having a crewed mission like Gaganyaan. So like that way, crewed mission to send astronauts to the space. So that also it is Falcon 9 is able to do all the three, whether it be satellite launches, whether it be supply missions, or whether it be uh, this crewed mission. So that is the advantage of Falcon 9 rocket. And another one is high payload capacity. We have already discussed that. High payload capacity both in low Earth orbit. So this will be mostly for sending remote sensing satellite, and this will be for sending geostationary transfer orbit. This will be mostly for communication satellite. So these are some of the advantages of this Falcon 9 rocket. So now let's see what is the why we have opted for this GSAT 20, why we are launching this GSAT 20. So GSAT 20 is the most advanced satellite we have ever created. So this is basically a communication satellite. So what do you mean by communication satellite? We have two different types of satellite. One is remote sensing, like to get the data of Earth, sensing the agricultural areas. Military satellites are there. So these are remote sensing satellites. Communication satellite means it will be helping for internet, it will be helping for this TV transmission, mobile transmission. So all these things are done using communication satellite. So what are the features of this GSAT 20 communication satellite? One is it is having high throughput of 48 gigabyte per second. So basically, in simple terms, if you want to say this is actually the speed of the broadband, even though it is much higher. So we will be having a broadband speed will be there. So like that way, it will be supporting high broadband speeds. So in 1 second, this can actually transmit 48 GB of data from Earth to space. Okay, so this is actually what meant by high throughput. For example, you can take this. Every system will be having a bandwidth will be there. Okay, so in 1 second, how much data it is being able to transfer. So that is what it is meant by throughput. How much of this bandwidth we will be able to use it in 1 second. So that is basically throughput. Okay. All right. Next one. Another important thing is it is operating in the Ka band spectrum. It is operating in the Ka band spectrum. So if you take this spectrum, here you can see that 1 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz. This is actually the frequency. So if the frequency increases, like this. So this is how the frequency goes. So here it will be lower frequency. Here it will be higher frequency. Okay. So here the amount of data which it is carrying is very less. In per second, the amount of data it is carrying is very less. Here you can see that in very short period of time itself, the amount of data it is carrying is very high. So this Ka band, you see here, you can see it like Ka band is coming here only, and it is also having high throughput. Okay. So both of these combined together, this is actually one of the efficient satellites. Okay. All right. So that is also another important feature of GSAT 20. Another thing is it is having wide coverage. So how it is making it easy for wide coverage? Because this will be having multiple beams will be there. Here you can see that this is actually beam. This is actually one beam. This is actually one beam. Okay. So if this is how you are transmitting, means your efficiency will be less. Why? Because it is going like this only. Here means you can be focused. Here means you can be more focused, and every area it will be, the speed will also be higher. Here sometimes here and all the speed will be less. Here the speed will be less. Mostly in this area only, the speed will be more. I am talking in the most simple way only. There are many technical things, other technical things are also there, but still. So here the speed will be less, here the speed might be less, here the speed will be optimal. So if you are sending beams like this means you will be able to get more efficiency in the communication. Okay, and also another thing is, if you are taking this GSAT 20, it will be covering areas like Jammu Kashmir, Andaman and Lakshadweep. You can see it like as of now, mostly we are using the our internet is wired only. Either it will be wired or Wi-Fi only. We don't have this kind of satellite broadband connection as of now. You might have heard regarding Starlink and all. So we are progressing in that direction. So that is also one advantage of this GSAT 20, and how they are actually making it efficient because of the things which one is it is in the Ka band, and also it is having high throughput, and also it is sending multiple beams instead of one or two beams, it is sending multiple beams. Andaman and all, as of now itself their data or maybe the broadband connection is very poor. So once this comes, it will be improving our data efficiency, okay, or internet efficiency. All right, so let's see a prelims practice question. With reference to India's satellite communications and the role of SpaceX in launching G20 satellite, consider the following statements. GSAT 20 satellite was launched by SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket due to limited payload capacity of ISRO's LVM-3 Bahubali rocket in placing larger satellites in geostationary orbit. That is correct only, right? So LVM-3 is not having that much capacity to send something like 4.7 tons. Okay, so that's why we are using it. NSIL was established in 2019 as part of the Indian government space sector reforms, which happened in 2019, 20, to enhance satellite launch capabilities by developing indigenous heavy lift launch vehicles. NSCL is not dealing with the development of the satellites. Mostly it is a commercial arm of ISRO. So that has nothing to do with the development of indigenous heavy lift satellites. So this is wrong. Okay. Next one, GSAT 20 satellite uses Ka band spectrum. We have already discussed what is Ka band and how it is efficient, which is essential for providing high speed internet services, including applications like satellite based internet in remote areas. That is correct only. It's actually a general statement. This Ka band only the factual area coming here, so that's also correct. Launch of GSAT 20 by SpaceX Falcon 9 marks a departure from India's historic lines on Ariane 5. Ariane 5 is already retired, so that is also correct only. Okay, so second statement is wrong. Other 1, 3 and 4 is correct. So the correct answer is A. Alright, so next one is talking regarding the GRAP IV measures. GRAP IV measures. There is actually a huge crisis going on in Delhi. They said that living in Delhi is becoming very difficult. On an average day, the people living in Delhi, they are having the effect of having 50 cigarettes in a day. So that much severe pollution is happening in Delhi. Okay. So now the government has invoked GRAP IV measures. So we will be discussing what is this GRAP IV, Graded Response Action Plan, and also what is this air quality index, how it is measured, and all these things we will be discussing. So this will be coming under the conservation, environment, pollution, degradation part of UPSC syllabus. Alright, let's see a previous year question which was asked in the same lines. Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata are the three mega cities of country, but air pollution is much more serious problem in Delhi as compared to other two. Why is it so? Okay. Alright, little geography is also needed for this. It was asked in 2015. So context, stage 4 of the Graded Response Action Plan GRAP has been activated in the National Capital Region. National Capital Region means the region which is involving including Delhi, okay, to address the emergency level air pollution, imposing strict measures to curb hazardous emissions. Okay, let's see what is this air quality index. What is the air quality index? Alright, so air quality index we often call it as NAQI, AQI or NAQI, National Air Quality Index. So basically this is a number. This is a number in which the government is saying that okay, the air quality is good or the air quality is bad. Okay, so we have air quality numbers from 0 to 500. 0 to 500. So 0 means okay, it is good, the air quality is good. 500 means it is very worse. Okay, so basically the government wants to communicate about the quality of air through a number. So that is National Air Quality Index. So it is calculated by Central Pollution Control Board. So Central Pollution Control Board is overseeing the implementation of all these things in the central level. In every state we have a State Pollution Control Board, and also the technical support. Technical support will be given by Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, and also IMD is also involved. Indian Meteorological Department. So they are also involved in this. Okay. So this is air quality index. So we have some pollutants. We have some pollutants in which the this organizations will be making use while calculating the National Air Quality Index. One is particulate matter 10, or sometimes we call it as a PM10, and another one is particulate matter 2.5. Another one is nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, lead. Okay, so these are the eight pollutants which these organizations will be considering while they are talking about the air quality index, while measuring the air quality index. So to calculate this air quality, at least three among them is needed. At least three. We have eight, so at least three among them is needed to calculate this. And among them, one should be PM10 and another one should be PM2.5. Another one will be the pollutant which is having the highest number of concentration. So based on this only, the National Air Quality Index will, at least three should be there to calculate this air quality index. So based on the varying levels, we have range from 0 to 500. 0 means it will be good, 500 means it is worst. Okay, so this is how we will be calculating and we will be informing the people. So now let's see what is this GRAP, Graded Action Plan or GRAP. So Graded Action Plan or GRAP, it is designed for National Capital Region. It is designed for National Capital Region involving Delhi. And who created this? It was the idea of Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority, EPCA. Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority, EPCA, and it is implemented by Commission for Air Quality Management. So it is actually conceived by Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority, and it is implemented by Commission for Air Quality Management. So how this GRAP is implemented is, GRAP will be implemented in stages only. There are different stages like stage 1 of GRAP, stage 2 of GRAP, stage 3 of GRAP, and stage 4 of GRAP. Stage 1 will be mild measures will only be there. Mild measures will only be there. Stage 2 means little more stricter measures will be there. Stage 3 means again little more stricter measures will be there. Stage 4 means it will be the extreme. Okay, extreme measures will be there in stage 4. So this is how we are actually doing this. So based on the National Air Quality Index, for example, if the National Air Quality Index AQI is 200 to 300, 200 to 300, stage 1 will be invoked. For example, after Diwali, stage 1 was invoked in Delhi. Stage 1 was invoked in Delhi. So what all things are included in stage 1? Basic activities like regular lifting of waste, no illegal waste dumping, mechanized sweeping will be there, and ban on firecrackers, like Delhi during Diwali and all, there will be ban on firecrackers. So this will be invoked in stage 1. In stage 1, that is 300 to 400, little more stricter measures will be implemented in stage 1. So here sweeping was there, here it will be more enhanced sweeping. Water sprinkling will also be there, so that the particular matter will be settled. So like that, dust control will be there, construction sites will be under control. So these are some of the things which will be implemented in the stage 2 based on the AQI. Stage 3, what they will be doing? Stage 3 is considered as a severe. So first it will be poor, second it will be very poor, and third it will be severe. So severe means 401 to 450. That is stage 3. Again it will be enhanced. So here basic sweeping was there, here enhanced sweeping was there. Again here further intensified and enhanced sweeping will be there. Water sprinkling and dust suppressants will be used. Okay, earlier water sprinkling was only there. Now dust suppressants will also be used, and also there will be little curb on the private transport, and all. People will be aligned more towards the public transport. They will be forced to use the public transport. And in the stage 4, this is the extreme stage which Delhi is in now. It will be more than 450. National Air Quality Index will be more than 450. So what they will be doing is like higher measures, like complete ban on diesel trucks and goods vehicles will be there. Total ban on construction activities will be there. So all these things will be there. As of now, companies are opting for work from home, and also that is something which is coming out of the this GRAP measure. So like that way, even individual measures are also supporting Delhi's air pollution. Okay, support to curb Delhi's air pollution. All right, next one, prelims practice question regarding GRAP and AQI only. So GRAP is a set of emergency measures activated based on AQI levels to combat air pollution in national capital region. That's correct only. The set of emergency measures. It's not like directly will be applying GRAP. No, it's not like that. And it is only for NCR region. As of now, it is only for NCR region. So that is also there. So GRAP was formulated by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and approved by Supreme Court of India. That is not correct. It is by EPCA is only conceiving it, and CAQM. CAQM was only implementing that. So this statement is wrong. Okay, so this statement is correct. This statement is correct. This statement is wrong. Okay, so one only. Which of the following statements are correct? One only. Okay. All right. Let's move on to another news which is related to environment, but still have some international implications also. Okay. So this is regarding phasing out of fossil fuels. How we can phase out fossil fuels? So there are some talks, like we have to follow something like the NPT. So that level of planning is also happening in the international level. So this is important both from the economy point of view as well as environment point of view in GS paper 3. Alright, so let's see a previous year question which was asked in the same lines. Do you think India will meet 50% of its energy needs from renewable energy by 2030? Justify your answer. How will the shift of subsidies from fossil fuels to renewables help achieve the above objective? Okay, explain. So let's see what is actually the context. So COP29 is happening in Baku in Azerbaijan. Many things are happening, like methane diplomacy is happening, climate finance, how we can implement climate finance. So like that, many discussions are happening there. So one of the discussion which is happening there is fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. NPT, you might have heard regarding NPT, nuclear proliferation treaty. So like that way, we have fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. All right, so let's see what is this F of NPT. What is this F of NPT? So F of NPT aims to regulate fossil fuel usage globally through legally binding measures. Legally binding measures. So there is another legally binding measure, that is nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Okay, this has nothing to do with fossil fuels. This is regarding non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, which was signed in 1962. So what is the purpose of this? This is to ensure that, to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and to promote disarmament. Okay, so this is the purpose of this nuclear non-proliferation treaty, and this is adopted by many countries. Okay, so in the same lines, we have to implement this F of NPT. That is, there is no to regulate the fossil fuels. Okay, so three pillars are there for the treaty. Three pillars are there. One is non-proliferation. That is, we should be reducing the use of coal, oil, gas production. Okay, sorry, we should be halting the expansion. It need not be more than this. Okay, so that is non-proliferation. Another one is phase out. Gradually we should be reducing the existing fossil fuel production. In the nuclear treaty also, it is like that. Really, some countries will be having their nuclear capacity will be there, so they have to gradually reduce the nuclear weapon. So like that way, we have to gradually shut down the existing nuclear fuel production, and also transition. Transition from where to where. As of now, we are using for energy, we are using fossil fuels only. So we have to transition from fossil fuel to where renewable energy like solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy. So we have to look for alternate forms of energy. Okay, so that is, so these are the three pillars. These are the three pillars of this FFNPT, or Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty. Okay. So why this is needed? Why this is needed? So first one, the Paris Agreement does not directly address fossil fuel production. Paris Agreement does not directly address fossil fuel production. What is the use of Paris Agreement? Paris Agreement is for climate change only. Climate change only. So mostly it will be talking regarding the global warming, how much in how much we have to restrict. But it is not talking anything directly regarding fossil fuel. We all know fossil fuel or this non-renewable energy sources. They are one of the major reasons to increase the number of increase the quantity of this greenhouse gases, but still it is not talking directly regarding anything. So that is why we need a special mechanism. We need a special mechanism. Another thing is, global fossil fuel emissions are 8% higher in 2024 than in 2050 when Paris Agreement was signed. So COP from we are moving from COP21 to COP29. We can see that everything has changed. Even last year there was actually statistics like we have recorded the hottest day. We have recorded the hottest day ever in the history. So these kind of statistics are also coming. So that is also one reason why we need treaties like FFNPT. And also the current policies, even though the Paris Agreement has set the limits, the current policy could lead to 3% warming. 3% warming, spoiling whatever we have um, envisioned in the Paris Agreement. So that is also another reason. So Paris Agreement is not just with Paris Agreement alone, we will not be able to do anything. So with this realization only, this organizations, companies, everyone, environmental, whoever is in charge of environment, they are opting for this kind of NPT. Okay. So global endorsement, who are all the supporters? The key supporters of FFNPT include, again, UN, former UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon. Okay, indigenous Amazon groups are there, and also these states. Why these states are important? 13 small island developing states, because the worst hit parts of the world are the small island states. Even if there is a very small increase, even as per the even if the Paris Agreement is implemented, also at that time also these small island states are under threat, like Vanuatu, Tuvalu, and Fiji. So that is why they are also in the forefront of this global endorsement. Okay, and also Colombia, a major coal producer, they also endowed it in 2023 COP20. And also it is having institutional backing is also there. 70 sustainable banks. Now there is something known as green economy. Green economy is also there, and also I've already mentioned regarding climate finance, carbon credit mechanism. So these initiatives are also coming. So financial sectors should also collaborate to ensure that this global warming can be curbed. Okay, but still, what are the challenges? Larger fossil fuel dependent nations like India and Indonesia have not yet been fully engaged. India has not signed this treaty. So that is also another issue, because countries like India, China, so these countries, when these countries are implementing this climate initiatives, then it can make a huge difference. So that is one challenge, and also lack of financial support. We can hope that once this climate finance initiatives are in practice, at that time uh, better endorsement will be there. Okay, so why India is not actively engaged in this? Because as of now, we are highly dependent on fossil fuel. We are highly dependent on fossil fuel. We cannot directly move to, we cannot, like Germany did, and it was actually a disaster to their economy. So we don't want to go in that kind of line. We don't want to directly go with the fossil fuel, but still Indian government is also having the same policy, like we have to slowly phase out this fossil fuels. Okay. So as of now, our current energy mix is coal is there, oil is there, and gas is also there, accounting for about 59% of the installed power capacity. Okay, so that is a major issue. We cannot overhaul it, and also India is the second largest coal producer globally, and our electricity production is also heavily relied on coal only. We have thermal power plants. So that is also another issue. And also in this development needs, rising energy demand is also there. Will not be able to provide this much solar energy for the demand, increasing energy demand. So that is also another issue, and it is projected to grow 35% by 2020. And access to energy, over 200 million Indians still rely on solid fuels for cooking. Okay, even though we have programs like Ujjwala, Ujjwala, still people are using this solid fuels for cooking. So slowly we'll be phasing out this. Okay, so why India is not actively joining? Other reasons are like our per capita emissions. Our per capita emissions are 2.7 metric tons in 2024. Again, the global average of 6.3. So even though that is the case, this is compared to the size of India, compared to the population of India, this is not a small amount. Okay. So what are the economic and financial challenges in this? Cost of transitioning. You can easily take an example of electric vehicles. Yeah, most people are not opting for electric vehicles. Why? Because electric vehicles are much costly than the normal petrol or diesel vehicle. So that is also one issue. So everything has to be in par. And this cost of transition should not be very high. Yeah, to implement the solar panels in a house itself, it is not affordable for a common family. So these things has to be there. And also insufficient global support. We have already created something like International Solar Alliance and all, but still we need more global support regarding this. Then only we can completely implement this. Focus on domestic climate goals. Net zero target. Net zero means what? The production minus how much we are able to grab. So that should be net zero. Okay. So and also renewable energy growth. India is aggressively expanding renewables with target of 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuels. But as of now, it is the target is 2030 only. So as of now, it is not possible to shift. And also we have strategic priorities also. Even geopolitical considerations are also there. We are now also we are importing oil, so we have to therefore strategic and geopolitical considerations are also there. Okay. All right, now let's see a prelims practice question. With reference to nuclear non-proliferation treaty, consider the following statements. India both signed and ratified the treaty. The treaty divides the world into nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states. So this is regarding nuclear non-proliferation treaty. So this kind of questions can be asked regarding this also. Okay. All right. So let's wind up today's session. Well, like I've already mentioned, staying relevant for this much years is not easy. So we have to take this lesson from Mickey Mouse. Staying relevant for 96 years, that is that is a huge achievement. So we have to ensure that we have a vision, and we have to stick on to that vision so that we can also stay relevant. Thank you.